name is Sonia Lovell, and I am obsessed with helping women navigate the magical, messy, and let's be honest, more hysterical moments of this thing called menopause. I'm a personal trainer and breast cancer survivor turned menopause coach. I help women understand what's going on, why, and what they can do to navigate the menopausal transition. Gloss over the real talk? No way! Exhaustion, brain fog, loss of libido, loss of confidence, and anxiety are just some of the topics that we'll chat about. Consider this a juicy happy hour with your new bestie and her friends. Settle in and get ready to learn and laugh. This is the Dear Menopause podcast. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Dear Menopause. Today, I am super excited to be chatting to Kylie Patchett. Now, Kylie trained as a forensic biologist, but has spent the past 20 years coaching, leading, and mentoring in the scientific health and wellbeing fields. Kylie is a two-time best-selling author, a certified holistic health, NLP and EFT practitioner. She's also an experienced yoga and meditation teacher and an intuitive Zen Thai shiatsu masseuse. Kylie has transformed her childhood trauma and addiction, binge eating, and a deep lack-based scarcity mindset. Today, she lives with her firefighting husband and teen daughters. She has lived in the snow, by the sea, in the mountains, and now she very happily calls herself a country girl. I'm very excited to bring you this chat. I hope you enjoy it. Let's settle in and hear what Kylie and I had to say. Well, Kylie, thank you so much for joining me on Dear Menopause today. I'm really excited to dig into some really juicy topics and conversations around you, your personal life story and experiences, but also your experiences in perimenopause. So, Kylie, tell us a little bit. In the intro, I talked about you moving from being an academic, a forensic biologist, and moving into becoming a transformational life coach. I'd really love for you to share with everyone how that transition unfolded for you.
Oh, dear. I'm going to give you the short version. Thank you for having me, first of all. So I have always had a very inquisitive mind. So when I was at school, I actually wanted to be a neurosurgeon because I wanted to figure out how people ticked. Like that's always been a big thing for me. It's like human behavior fascinates me. What drives us towards things fascinates me. My experiences in childhood and, trauma and feeling unsafe, etc., and how they've really channeled the way that I choose to live and particularly parent. That sort of thing has always fascinated me. And so when I was at school, the masters came up to do forensic science and I was like, that sounds really cool. To me, that's like pattern detection and it's trying to figure out what doesn't fit and, putting the pieces together and working things out. However, I very quickly worked out that a raging extrovert is not suited to being in a lab coat by themselves in a sealed room. So that was where I went wrong. So I was like, let's rethink this. So I actually ended up doing executive leadership coaching inside of Queensland Health, and then I moved into sleep and respiratory medicine because it was basically just another field of science that really interested me. But all along through my corporate career and also my own coaching business, I've always been fascinated by what drives us, what makes people tick, what gets the best out of people, how do we step into our power as amazing human beings, like all these really juicy things. So I think to me, I've just switched being a forensic biologist to being a detective inside people's minds, really. So it's kind of the same skill set. It's just internal. So, yeah, that's the short version. I've done lots of different things.
That. Yeah. I love that. And I specifically love this image that I had in my head then of you as being this extroverted detective.
Honestly, I only just got interested in human design. I feel like I'm very late to the party. Like human design has been all the rage for years. And anyway, and it turns out that my type in human design is called the Great Life Experimenter. And it's literally like I have to try things on for size, F them up, and then like teach people from the results. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been making myself wrong for that for my entire life. And it turns out that's actually just the way I'm designed. That's
Oh,
my like
absolutely. And
so
I love
weird.
that terminology, human design. So can you just talk through for my audience and for myself, because I'm not 100% sure what it means. What does the term human design actually mean?
Yeah, so I'm a very, very beginner. So this is like super big picture, beginner level. So human design is a combination of astrology, I Ching, quantum physics, all wrapped up into this. I guess it's like a personality profiling kind of tool, but it's very much based on the time that you were born and all the planets that were influencing things. I'm probably absolutely bastardizing this. I'm sorry if you're a human design expert and you're going, no, that is not right. But basically, there's 6 main different types, and then there's all different authorities. So I'm at 3-5, which means, trial and error. And I'm actually, the 5 part of my profile is very much about challenging the status quo. So actually going, well, F that. That's actually not what we have to do anymore. Like, this is the old paradigm, and that's totally what I do in my own business. And yeah, the authority bit is just some people are sacral authority, which is me. So I get a very strong gut feeling right in the moment, yes or no for me. And that's actually one of my greatest growth points as a woman. And also when I'm coaching someone else, it's like, are you trusting your own answers? Because a lot of the time, we were just talking about power before we started recording. We're giving our power away to someone that we see as the authority, or the even coaching, or, anything in life, your parents, like, whose rules are you playing by? It's like, play by your own rules. That's the only way that you create an amazing life where you get the radiance and that glow that comes from within. That's it. So yeah, that's my very quick human design. There's so much more to it. There's all these gates, and yeah, but I'm not even going to try and explain that because it's not not my area of expertise.
Yeah, no, brilliant. But thank you for just shedding a little bit of light on that, because it's an area that I personally find fascinating. And I'm sure that there's other women listening in that, may also be a little bit like, oh, I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I was hoping you and I could dig into a little bit today, obviously you and I have been friends for a very long time.
We have.
And as a result of that, we know a bit about each other's personal lives and what's been going on outside of our businesses. And I know that you have recently been on a little bit of a journey when it comes to body image. And that was my big driver to get you on today, was actually to have this really robust conversation with you around body image, and specifically body image for women in their midlife, going through perimenopause and into their menopausal phases. So could you start off by sharing with us your awakening and your experience recently?
Oh my goodness, I have got hours to say about this. So, okay, so where do I start? So for me, body image, disordered eating, and the transition to perimenopause have all come into this I was just saying to you off air, can I swear? Am I allowed to swear?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay.
Please do.
So, about 6 months ago, if you'd asked me how perimenopause was treating me, I would have said, what is this cluster fuckery that I found myself in? I was like, what is going on? I'm like a sociopath. I'm cranky. Then I'm bawling. Then I'm putting on weight left, right, and center. But I guess to answer your question more fully, I grew up in 2 different households, one that I felt very safe in and one that I felt very unsafe in. So I created a relationship with food which was to try and self-soothe, which is, better than a lot of drugs that we could choose to self-soothe with. And as a 5-year-old, probably the only thing available to me. So yeah, I've always had this funny relationship with really trying to control the disordered eating that I have been doing since. I have very clear, crystal clear memories of being in front of a freezer when I was 5 or 6 years old and eating ice cream whilst listening to the horror outside of that room, and just really knowing already at that age that I felt unsafe, and food was one of the ways that I could try and push that down. I've actually got goosebumps. It's the first time I've actually talked about this. Yes. So thank you for the space. It's actually making me quite emotional. So over the years, I have gone from everything from crazy crossfitting, gym junkie, 6 days a week, controlling every single morsel. I've done Weight Watchers. I've done any diet you can think
Yeah.
of, I've done.
Yeah.
And most recently, I actually found a program that said that it was for food addiction. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally a food addict. Like, I can't stop myself, particularly around sugar. Once I start eating it, I just keep on shoving it in my mouth. And I was totally convinced that this was the answer. And for a couple of years, it was indeed the answer, because I stayed, like, there is an extremely restrictive program. You weighed everything that you ate. Did it for a couple of years. I lost 4 dress sizes. I looked and felt amazing. But, and this is always the thing, the external does not necessarily translate to the internal. I thought that that would make me feel better about myself. But what it actually did, well, 2 things happened. First of all, severe restriction always leads to binging, always, particularly if you've got disordered eating. So that's what started happening. But also, externally, I was like, okay, so I've got this amazing, like the sales pitch for that program was get back to the body that you were when you were 20. And I did. Exactly the same weight when I got married when I was 21. I'm now 47.
Wow,
like, that is
Kylie.
so fucked up that someone is selling that. Anyway, whole other kettle of fish.
There is so much that is messed up about that. So much. Yeah.
And the tagline of that program is happy, thin and free. So even that, to be happy and free, you must be thin.
You must be thin.
It's like, ladies, don't fall for the bullshit. We are so conditioned with everything that we see and hear about, God forbid you put on weight when you hit midlife. God forbid you show a grey hair. God forbid you have a wrinkle. God forbid you don't look like you did when you were 20. And it's like, hang on a minute. So I had this moment of, I've written about it on my Facebook page, and I've actually had a lot of people say, wow, you too. Just this sort of transition into this perimenopausal state when your hormones do start doing different things. And I was putting on weight but still trying to restrict. And it was all this big unraveling of like, okay, I could choose to carry on like this, like I have done, like literally since the age of 5. Or I could seek a different way of seeing myself, because I'm like, this is broken. I am broken. The way I'm no, that's not true. I am not broken. The way I'm treating my body, my relationship with my power and my radiance, and where I get my glow from, again, goosebumps crazily, I've completely disconnected from who I am. And we're not meant to look like we're 20 when we're in our bloody 40s. Like, so I finally went, okay, I'm not actually following a diet. I'm not following a diet for the rest of my life. I'm not weighing myself for the rest of my life. That started probably about 8 months ago. And so far, I have kept my promise to myself. And yes, I am softer. And yes, I am more round and luscious and all of those, like the way that I would like to describe myself. I've got boobs back again. Like when I was the weight I was when I was 21, I didn't even have boobs. I'm like, this is not natural. And so I think to answer your question, the whole body image thing for me it's got a thread of like unhealed trauma through it, which obviously that's an invitation. So I think instead of thinking about perimenopause and
merry menopause. Yes, please.
Instead of thinking about this like a midlife crisis, my call to action in my community is, what about we treat it like a midlife metamorphosis? What about if this point in time with usually, and obviously this comes with the caveat of everyone's different stages of life, but for you and I, definitely our kids are older, we've got less responsibility as far as day-to-day parenting goes, we've got more time, we've got potentially more resources, and we've got all this space. And a lot of the time we don't actually know who we are anymore. And it's like there is a massive invitation. Mm-hmm. There's a massive space for all of us to go, wow, okay, so yes, in some ways perimenopause has been a clusterfuckery. Like it's made me really emotional. It's made me quite, but it's also invited me to embed better self-care, to go back to practicing yoga because I'm a yoga teacher. I didn't teach for a whole year because I had wrist surgery. So it's just made me really clear about how I can nourish and nurture myself so that I can, I want to be, like I always, the word that keeps on coming to me is radiant. Like, when you see an older lady, like you can tell, she might be 50, like whatever. It doesn't really matter what the age, but they're like glowing from the inside, and it's because of a few
And
things.
the woman that
Yeah.
comes to mind when I think about that, and look, she is older, but Helen Mirren, I just, I get this image of her, and she is this beautiful, confident, radiant woman that embraces the power of her being, like, and she's ageless in many respects. Like, if you asked me how old she was, I literally couldn't tell you. But she is just, she glows, and she radiates this incredible energy and beauty. And every time I catch a glimpse of her, I just go, there's something that makes me just go, yes, like that is what being a woman is.
Yeah, it doesn't her glow like invite you to allow yourself to do the same? Because when I see someone like Helen Mirren, she's a perfect example. There's a few things that come to mind. A, she's owning her wisdom, and she totally has her own power. Like, she's not outsourcing her power to anyone. She's not asking for permission. She does not give a fuck what you think of her. And isn't that a relief? Like, oh my God, decades and decades of trying to be someone, people pleasing or whatever, like whatever your role is that you've played. And I think, she would be a person that you would expect would state what she wants and be completely unapologetic about it. And I'm just like, that is a person on the other end of that midlife metamorphosis where she's glowing from within. She doesn't need anyone to approve of her or tell her that she's okay, but she's also, there's a key, I can't quite get my language around it yet because it's just in my mind, but it's like, one candle can light the next candle and continue on. It's that ripple effect of, like, when I glow, the invitation is that you glow, because I show that it's totally cool to do that. Like,
to do that,
totally possible. Yeah, it's, to me, that's magical. So yeah, that's a very long answer to the body image thing, but
no, but it was a topic I really wanted to kind of hear your perspective on, because I have gone through my own experience post my cancer diagnosis and treatment and surgical or induced menopause that saw me go through significant changes physically. And, that's without even touching on all the emotional and, cognitive healing that I had to do, but just physically the changes that I experienced. And I can remember sitting down with my husband when I had finished all my treatments. And I'll go into this in another podcast with everybody, but there is an incredible amount of healing that you have to go through following a traumatic diagnosis and treatment. And but I can remember very vividly, not long after I finished all my treatment, thinking, I'm finished treatment now. I'm okay. I'm ready to get on with my life. And sobbing hysterically about how my body had betrayed me physically, that it had changed. It had changed without my permission, without it being any fault of my own. And now I was left to deal with the aftermath of that and had to fix it. You were talking before about things being broken and me feeling this need to fix my body when I hadn't done anything in the first place to break it. And it has been a huge journey for me to come to a place where I am very comfortable now with, this is my vessel, this is my physical body. It is nothing more than skin and bone and muscles. What is on the inside is what is important. My health is more important. And I don't weigh myself anymore, and I don't restrict calories anymore in a bid to control what I look like. It takes so much work to get to that space and that place. It's worthwhile work. And, but even getting to the place where you realize that's where you need to go, like you say, you get to that point of so much pain that you just go, I just can't do this anymore. and there has to be a better way. And I really want to, a big part of my messaging out to my audience, particularly women in midlife, is we need to let go of the restrictiveness and the controlling aspects of our physical appearance. And look, we could go on about this for ages, but yeah, I was really keen to hear your personal experience around that, because I think, and you mentioned this when we were chatting off air, that when we speak about these conversations, when we pull back the rug that we've been, pushing all this shit under for years,
under the rug,
so much stuff under the rug, that when you lift the rug up and you let everyone else see that you've got the same shit under your rug as they've got under theirs, that it's like this Me Too moment, and maybe that's the wrong phrasing to use, but it is this experience of, oh, it's not just me. And I really want women to learn from our stories, to help them if they have realizations of, okay, maybe there's something here that I can take away and start working on, that, it is such a worthwhile process to go through.
Absolutely. I think, so much gold in what you just said. I think the two words to me, the control and the fixing. So I don't know if you've come across them, and I'm, again, not going to remember them properly.
Oh, the sisters, the Kite sisters?
Yes, thank you. So,
yes.
My
More Than Just a Body.
Thank you. More Than Just a Body. I was like,
More Than Just a Body is their book. Yeah. And anyone listening, I'll link to that in the show notes, so that if anybody wants to go and find that book themselves and have a read, it is literally life-changing.
Amazing. And I would say too, one of the big parts of me being okay with not looking like I was 20 and surrendering to the fact that this time of life, like, I'm like, this is not sustainable. I don't want to be counting calories when I'm 80. This is ridiculous behavior. And I also don't want to be binging my backside off, or my backside on, should I say, like in my 80s. Like, come on, like that's not freedom. That's not joy. That's not radiance. That's none of the things that I want to create in my life. And so to me, I was just like, well, this is the perfect time. Like, there is no time like the present, and there's not as many demands on me as, the mum of youngsters or whatever. But one of the key things is like filling your environment, like swimming in a different pool. Like, I didn't even realize how totally screwed up my environment was in terms of diet culture, anti-fatism, the beauty industry, like all the airbrushing and everything. I know we talk about it all the time, but I wasn't conscious that was the ocean I was swimming in until I started seeking out people like the Kite sisters, like Beauty Redefined is their Instagram.
Yes.
A lot of like Healthy with Kelsey, I absolutely love, like another Instagrammer who is, people in bigger bodies that are still doing amazing things with their bodies, because that's the thing that we are taught. It's like, oh, larger, or God forbid, fat, like the, the F word. Means that you're not as healthy, that you can't move as much, that you're lazy, that you like, it comes with all these connotations. And it's like, oh no, I'm bigger, but I still move. I'm bigger, but I'm still healthy. It's just that my head is not sick, because before my body was healthy.
And it was, air quotes.
Yeah, exactly. Like air quotes, like, this is not natural. I look back at photos and I go, I look like a stick insect. Why did no one say that to me? But because we're conditioned to think skinnier is definitely better. Skinnier is more healthy.
And this anti-aging, we were talking about this earlier, the anti-aging belief that's perpetuated by the fitness industry, the fashion industry, and the beauty industry is just not doing women or men. I'm a mother of sons, you're a mother of daughters. It's not doing anyone any favors.
No. And here's the thing, if we extrapolate that, if we think we're okay as we are, we won't buy anything. So the driver in the fitness industry and in the diet industry, in the beauty industry, absolutely is, oh, you're broken. You need this to feel better about yourself. And it's like, start consciously choosing not to listen to that shit, because, it's never, ever an external job. It's only ever internal that is going to shift the needle in any direction that you want. So, yes, quite the journey.
It has been quite the journey, and I think given the era that we grew up in, the social media, the fashion, the beauty industries, it is going to be an ongoing journey. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
unfortunately not a journey where you go, oh, I did the work and now I'm good. There's going to be constant work to be done in that area. The other thing that I wanted to mention when you were talking just before was
Mm.
I also feel that it's so important for us to role model to our daughters and for me, my sons as well. You know, sons are just as vulnerable to disordered eating, you know, and if we're not role modeling to them, um, you know, to love ourselves and to not be weighing food and ourselves constantly,
Mhm.
we're just laying the path for them to end up in the same place as us in 20,
Yeah,
30, 40 years time.
absolutely. That is actually like, I don't believe in regrets because I don't, there's always something positive that comes from whatever unfolds. There's always the flip side of it. But yeah, my girls are 17 and 18 this year. So it's just like, I've done the damage. Like they've seen me
Mm,
do that to myself. And that makes me very, very sad. But it also, I guess it just puts more fire underneath my bum. Like I went to a class the other day and we had coffee afterwards, and one of the ladies said, "Oh, I told those granddaughters of mine only one little chocolate." That is the shit that poisons the brains of the
hmm.
next generation. Like that,
That's right.
I just continued on the same patterns that I was taught. And yeah. Anyway, you can't go backwards, but I certainly have had some good high quality conversations about how, yeah, my worth is not defined by, yeah, the amount of grams I put in my mouth or the amount of grams that show up on the scale. And yeah, it's so much free. Like I cannot believe when someone suggested to me that I don't weigh myself anymore, I was like, "Ugh, how will I know if I'm okay?" Like literally, that was my thought. How will I know if I'm okay? I won't have a stick to hit myself with if I'm on the wrong side, or to congratulate myself and then eat again. Like I'm like,
Mm.
so disordered. So yeah, it's taken me quite a while to get to comfort level with that, and I'm just like, hey. And I think the joy for me that's emerged, I think only really over the last probably month and a half, is just getting back to just um, moving my body for the joy of it. Doing yoga just to be in my body. I had this moment the other day. I just had Reiki like the night before, and I knew there was some serious shifting going on. I could feel that, yeah, things were sort of unlocking. And for the very first time, because I had wrist surgery on both my wrists, there's been quite a lot of yoga poses I haven't been able to do because I just haven't had the strength. And I did wheel pose, which is that big back bend, for the first time.
Yep.
And I was actually recording myself because I was trying to put together a little yoga reel about what to expect in a yoga class. And anyway, in the end, that did not make it to the light of day. But I did wheel, and I just had this moment of just feeling like all the energy down the front of my body really open up, but also this huge, like, bubble of gratitude that my wrists were back to strong enough to support me and that I could make that shape again. And I was just like, this is the joy of being in a body just for the sensation of it,
Yep.
not how it looks, or, whether it's
Yep.
got a size 10 dress on or a size 50 dress on, and I just thought, wow, this is what I've been missing out on. This is truly
Mm.
what I've been seeking with all the external fixing, but it was never accessible with anything of the external. It was just that. And I'm like,
And it is such a trap. I know, as a personal trainer for so many years,
mhm,
and most recently, specifically working with women, um,
yes,
there are still so many people, men and women, that only relate exercising to weight loss.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I must exercise because I have to lose weight. And it's such a disconnected relationship to have with movement and the
Mm,
joy that, like you say, your body can bring when you
yeah.
move in a way that makes you feel happy and is not
Yeah.
associated with achieving an unrealistic goal.
Yeah, and it's back to the control versus the connection. Like, to me, they're polar opposites. If I'm exercising to lose weight, almost by definition, I'm doing stuff that I don't really want to do because I've never, ever, ever loved to run, which used to be back in the day, Weight Watchers days. That was what you did to keep your calories up, exercise wise. I hate running, absolutely hate running. I love feeling strong and grounded and supple. And so for me, weight training and yoga are my two deep
Happy
loves.
places.
Yeah, exactly. And I get such a endorphin hit from both of those things that, like, yeah, it's the difference between doing something to control your body versus doing something to connect, or that feels like a deeper connection, like a gift to your body rather than a punishment. And it's like, I've known all of this logically for such a long time, but I have really not had the experience of embodying it until very recently. And I just feel like, wow, that is such a gift, because, yeah, I can move into this second chapter, the second phase of my life, and feel like, oh my God, I get to do stuff just because it feels good, not to achieve a particular goal or to keep someone happy or to I used to have this big story about, like, if I'm skinnier, I definitely look younger. And I'm like, oh my God, no, like, that does not equal, like, this is a story you're telling yourself that ain't true. So,
yeah. And it's always so good to question those stories we tell about ourselves, isn't it? Yeah.
So much. Yeah.
As the amazing Byron Katie would say, would be, is it true? And how do I actually know that it's true? So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, digging deep into those stories is so important.
Yeah.
Kylie, thank you so much. What an amazing chat. I would like to wrap things up by asking you to share with me, because I'm definitely going to get some benefit from this as well, but also my audience. What are you watching or reading at the moment that is filling your cup, and, you know, it can be the crappiest TV show ever made, if that's what is working for you? I'm not going to get all highbrow here, but is there something you can share with us that has brought you some enjoyment recently?
Yeah. I have everything from lowbrow to highbrow, so I'll start with the highbrow. I'm rereading Your Body Keeps the Score. So I'm very, very interested. So I did my yoga teacher training a couple of years ago, but I haven't really embodied again this sort of like the personal embodiment to therefore be able to teach also. Using yoga and breath work as a tool to releasing trauma or accessing trauma, not necessarily releasing it, because there's obviously other tools for that. But and something that, you know, in the first iteration of my business, I called myself a mindset coach, but that's very thinking and analytical based work. Whereas somatic healing and using yoga and breath work and even emotional freedom technique, like, all of that accesses where the trauma memories are held, which is actually in the body. So it's like we can do all this work up here, but if we've got a disconnection at the, you know, at the neck, then we ain't doing the whole job. So I'm rereading that. And then lowbrow, I have actually gotten to the middle of the 4th season of Blind Spot on Netflix, which is like so old, but I've never watched it. It's got 5
I don't
seasons.
even know what Blind Spot is.
Yeah. You will know it. You would know it from the ad from years ago. It's the lady who is tattooed all over and comes out of a bag in the middle of New York, Times Square. And it's all this FBI hunt thing. So it's, yeah. I got
this is the forensic biologist in you coming out.
No. If you want to torture me, you make me watch CSI, because I'm like, turn the freaking light on.
Oh my God, that is such a common phrase that is yelled at the television in our house as well.
It's like, you would never have a crime scene that didn't have massive big spotlights. It just doesn't happen. Turn the freaking light on.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm so pleased to hear that that's yelled at televisions in other houses as well. Awesome, Kylie. Thank you so much for your time today. I will be adding links to your coaching business, your Instagram account, your Facebook, blah into the show notes, the other books that we've talked about, etc. as well. So if anybody is listening and would like to experience more of the wonderful Kylie Patchett, you will be able to find her in the show notes. Kylie, thank you so much and have an amazing day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great to reconnect.
Thank you for listening today. I am so grateful to have these conversations with incredible women and experts, and I'm grateful that you chose to hit play on this episode of Dear Menopause. If you have a minute of time today, please leave a rating or a review. I would love to hear from you because you are my biggest driver for doing this work. If this chat went way too fast for you and you want more, head over to stellarwomen.com.au/podcast for the show notes. And while you're there, take my midlife quiz to see why it feels like midlife is messing with your head. Hey, you. I wanted to let you know that the Stellar Circle membership is now open with access to my little black book of guest experts who will host masterclasses and be available for Q&A to members only. You'll get coaching with me 1 to 2 times a month. You'll work on learning what the fuck is going on during peri and meno, what you can do to feel better, and be supported and empowered by myself and the private community of fellow members. Check it out at stellarwomen.com.au. I'll see you over at the Stellar Circle program.